Hello everyone, and let's discuss William Jefferson Clinton. There he is, our 42nd president. His nickname is Bill. Alright, other names you can add there though are Slick Willie and the Teflon president. The reason why is because he always had a way of... Teflon is what you put on a pan, non-stick. Nothing sticks to this guy. So every controversy, every, criticism, whatever you levy against this guy, he always seems to sort of come out clean. So no matter what happens to him, people love Bill Clinton. Very, very, very popular president. His wife, Hillary Rodham Clinton, certainly still with us today and running for president. All right. Now, moving on. Went to Oxford University. I'll just explain why this is significant, because the date here is kind of important. 1968. This is during the Vietnam War. Clinton used the graduate deferment, meaning that he went to grad school in order to sort of avoid military service. Now, not critical of Clinton, but a lot of people did this. Most people had the opportunity, took advantage of that. But during the campaign, that was brought up because when he's running against George Bush, which I already mentioned, George Bush was a very decorated World War II hero. Now you had a man who avoided the Vietnam War. So there was a little bit of attention about that. Long career in Arkansas politics. Also the governor of Arkansas for 2 non-consecutive terms. There's election. It was a close election. Many thought that George Bush would have just walked away with this because he was a very, very popular president for the first part of his term. The economy was doing well. The first war, the first Persian Gulf War, he was a very popular president, 90% approval rating. But then, basically, the economy went down south. He made a promise that he was never going to raise taxes. He did raise taxes, and that caused a lot of backlash against the president. But also, Bush really didn't run a good campaign. Bush just assumed that he would sort of get the next, term as president because he did a good job the first term, while Clinton really ran a sort of a new kind of campaign, appealing to younger voters. He appears on MTV. He appears on all the late night talk shows, and that was sort of different for presidents to sort of go after that younger audience, and it did work for him very, very well. Okay, there's a second term, easily sort of defeats the other candidates. Basically, Dole put up a pretty good run, but Ross Perot ran as a third-party candidate, and both times, and most people say that when Ross Perot ran, he really took away more votes from the Republican candidate than he did from the Democratic candidate. All right, so there's Al Gore, our president, our VP. Now, notable events. Certainly there's some things I want you to add here, obviously, that are important for Clinton. His first term, we have the strongest economy that we ever had in 30 years. So the early 1990s was a really booming period for the American economy. A lot of people thought that you could owe that perhaps more to the Reagan years of cutting taxes, and now it finally came into, that kind of came around as benefiting the economy. 1993, you should add, is the NAFTA treaty, N-A-F-T-A, NAFTA, which stands for North American Free Trade Agreement. There's also significant healthcare reform attempted. This was our first attempt at a national healthcare system. Basically, Clinton let Hillary, his wife, sort of spearhead that. So as the first lady, she was trying to create policy. So again, sometimes that's considered a good thing. Sometimes it's not always accepted. There was a lot of backlash against her trying to get national healthcare reform, and it was not passed. You also have Bosnia. Our Air Force conducted air raids over Bosnia as part of the UN mission to stop the slaughter in Bosnia in 1995 between Christians and Muslims in that country. Also, scandals. The most famous one, obviously, is the Monica Lewinsky scandal. The president had an affair with an intern. He lied about that affair under oath. Because of that, he was impeached as sort of obstructing justice. So he was impeached, our third president to be impeached. And there was a trial in the Senate, and in the Senate, that trial, he was found not guilty. So he was not removed from office. Also, the Whitewater scandal about a land scandal in Arkansas that they were involved in. But again, nothing ever really came of these, and he stayed within office and stayed pretty popular throughout the time period. Now, what about miscellaneous fun facts? He's about 6'2", 6'2.5", about 200 to 230. He is a very personable person, outgoing, persuasive, has a lot of down-home phrases. He grew up in very poor, modest circumstances in Hope, Arkansas. It's kind of a sad childhood. His real father was killed in an auto accident before he was ever born, so never knew his real father. The mother remarried. The stepfather became an alcoholic, was abusive to the mother, once tried to shoot the mother, and he missed. And when Bill was about 14 years old, he was a big kid for 14, he stood up to his dad and basically told his stepfather that if you ever try to hurt my mother again, I will kill you. And the father basically never did again and sort of left the family. So sort of a very difficult childhood. Enjoys swimming, likes golf, crossword puzzles. At one point in his life, he was a big junk food addict, especially as president. He would have the motorcade, pull up to McDonald's and get fast food all the time. But then he had a heart attack later on after being president, and now I think he's vegan. So he kind of changed around his whole entire lifestyle. Loves jazz. He plays the saxophone, played the saxophone on MTV and the late night talk show host to kind of like to get popularity. And also a big fan of Elvis. Okay, so that is Bill Clinton. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.